Good evening. This is Bible Answers. My name is Evan Gregory, and as always, this is brought to you by the North Columbus Church of Christ, located in Columbus, Mississippi. And our website scrolling below me is northcolumbuschristians.com. And we have a YouTube page as well, North Columbus Church of Christ. You can find us, subscribe to our channel, and you can see all of our previous past videos as well. And also, this is a live show. If you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave them here. So we've been looking through working through, or reading through the book of John. We're going to finish up chapter 8 tonight. And so we've been working through chapter 8 for the last couple of weeks. We ended up in verse 41 where Jesus is talking about the Jews' father and who their father is. And the Jews responded by saying that their father is God. And so we pick up in verse 42. It says, Jesus said to them, if God were your father, you would love me, for I proceeded forth and came from God, nor have I come of myself, but he sent me. Why do you not understand my speech? Because you are not able to listen to my word. You are of your father the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do. He was a murderer from the beginning and does not stand in truth, because there is no truth in him. When he speaks a lie, he speaks from his own resources, for he is a liar and the father of it. So Jesus clears up what he's saying, that God sent him, and so if they were of God, if they loved God, then they would follow him. They would love him. But notice what he says. He says, "You are not able to listen to my word. You are of the father of your father, the devil, and the desires of your father you want to do." So obviously, he's not talking about who their literal father is. He's talking about who they are following, and who they follow and who they act like. That is their father. If they if God was their father, they would be acting more like him, or seeking to act more like him and be around people that act like him. And God is of the truth, Jesus is of the truth, and therefore they would be following and listening to what Jesus had to say. And so Jesus goes on talking about the devil, that he's a murderer, he's a liar, and it says that he's a liar and the father of it. This is where lying began, even going back to the Garden of Eden. And so this is not an unusual. The Jews are listening to this would probably be an unusual conversation. They are thinking of God being their father. They're following him. They understand that him coming back and saying, "Well, actually, it's their devil." They understand that he's not talking about just a literal father, but they understand that this is who they're following. That they're followers. They're claiming to be followers of God. Later on in the New Testament, Paul writing will talk about those that are following the faith of Abraham, and that so the Jews would have in mind that they are of the lineage of Abraham and they are part of that family. And then Paul comes back saying that pretty much everybody who is of Abraham are those that have the faith of Abraham, that they're following in the footsteps of Abraham. And so this thought about whose true father someone is not just exclusive here, but he's basically telling them again, you're following the devil. You're not following truth. So we continue on in verses 45 through 51. It says, "But because I tell the truth, you do not believe me. Which of you convicts me of sin? And if I tell the truth, why do you not believe me? He who is of God hears God's word. Therefore you do not hear, because you are not of God." And the Jews answered and said to him, "Do we not say rightly that you are a Samaritan and have a demon?" Jesus answered, "I do not have a demon, but I honor my Father, and you dishonor me. And I do not seek my own glory. There is one who seeks and judges. Most assuredly I say to you, if anyone keeps my word, he shall never see death." So he Jesus continues on. He says, I'm telling the truth, but you don't believe me. Which of you convicts me of sin?" And this is a rhetorical question. They can't point to anything or at any place that and say this is where you sinned. Okay, so they can't convict him of sin. All right, and so it's doesn't make sense that if he's not sinned, then he is of the truth, that he's speaking those things that are true. And so if he's telling them the truth, why do you not believe me? Why do you not believe the things that he is saying? And so then he continues on saying that they are not of God. They don't listen to him. They're not following him, and so that they're not of God. And of course, the Jews respond kind of like we would expect. He says, "Do we not say rightly that you are a Samaritan and have a demon?" Basically saying that he's crazy. He's calling him a Samaritan. He's not a true Jew. You're less. This would be an insult. They also said that he has a demon. But he continues on that talking about how they're acting. You're dishonoring me, and yet he is not acting in a way in which deserves dishonor. That he's honoring the Father. He's not seeking his own glory. Basically that God honors him as well, and so and recognizes him as well, and so we see all that, and then he ends up in verse 51. Most assuredly I say to you, if anyone keeps my word, he shall never see death. Those that follow his word, listen to his word, they are going to never see death. And so here he makes a very substantial claim here, and very monumental claim that those that listen to it and keep his word are not going to see death. And so there's this back and forth that he's having with the Jews. Jews saying, he's crazy or whatever, that he has a demon. Jesus continuing to make a claim of who he is, laying out evidence as to who he is. And so we continue on to verses 52 through 56. And it says, Then the Jews said to him, Now we know that you have a demon. Abraham is dead, and the prophets. Abraham is dead, and the prophets. And you say, If anyone keeps my word, he shall never taste death. Are you greater than our father Abraham, who is dead, and the prophets are dead? Who do you make yourself out to be? Jesus answered, If I honor myself, my honor is nothing. It is my Father who honors me, of whom you say that he is your God. Yet you have not known him, but I know him. And if I say I do not know him, I shall be a liar like you. But I do know him and keep his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. He makes the claim that those that keep his word, they're never going to see death. The Jews again responding as expected. Now we know that you have a demon. We say that you have a demon. Now we know that you have a demon because everybody else is dead. Abraham is dead. The prophets are dead. All these other people are dead. And you're making the claim that those that keep your word are never going to see death. And so he's making the claim, and the Jews, they're rightfully putting this together because they're making the claim, are you greater than Abraham? Are you greater than all these other people? And yet this claim that Jesus is making him a greater than him. Who do you make yourself out to be? And so it's interesting how Jesus responds here, that he removes, and he's not hoisting himself up on a pedestal. He's making a truthful claim of who he is, but he's also not hoisting himself on the pedestal. He is pointing to the Father. That he says, if I honor myself, or he's just making this claim himself, it's nothing. His honor is nothing, but the Father honors him as well. God honors him, and so if God is honoring him, it is pointing to who Jesus is. He again says that they don't know him. The same God that they're claiming that they don't know him, but Jesus knows him. And so as he continues on, he says, But I do know him and keep his word. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it, and he was glad. So he tells him You'll never see death if you keep my word. He's also making another claim here. Your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day, and he saw it and was glad. He knows about Abraham. He knows what Abraham was thinking, and Abraham was looking forward to the day that Jesus would come. And so they're asking earlier, are you greater than our father Abraham? Jesus is now making a claim that Abraham was looking forward, rejoiced to see my day, was looking forward to this, and he saw it and he was glad. And so think about that Abraham is, I guess you would say, number one in the eyes of the Jews. This is where it all started. He is their father. And so making that claim is another substantial claim of who Jesus is. And Abraham himself was looking and rejoicing to see his day. It takes us to verses 57 through 59. And the Jews said to him, you are not yet 50 years old, and have you seen Abraham? Jesus said to them, most assuredly I say to you, before Abraham was, I am. And they took up stones to throw at him. But Jesus hid himself and went out of the temple, going through the midst of them, and so passed by. Abraham rejoiced to see his day. The Jews still not putting the pieces together. They're saying, you're young, right? You're not even 50 years old. Have you seen Abraham? So Abraham, if I understand this would have been over 1,000 years, and probably more than 1,000 years since Abraham. Okay, and so he's young. It's impossible for you to have seen Abraham. What you're saying is crazy. Jesus said to them, most assuredly I say to you, before Abraham was, I am. So why does he say this? Why does he say I am? Okay, Jesus is saying who he is. That phrase "I am" is connected to God. That this is how God describes himself as I am, not I was or I'm going to be. That and the Jews know the claim that he's making, that he is God, and this is a lot of times you will, or sometimes you hear the claim people that Jesus never makes a claim of divinity, and never makes a claim to be God or anything of that nature. But here, Jesus is making that claim. And I think what we see here is with the response of the Jews, that they know exactly what he's doing. Again, even going back to verse 56, your father Abraham rejoiced to see my day. Jesus, knowing of what was going to happen, even from way past, even speaks that he was present during the time of Abraham. And so he wasn't just some guy who showed up on the scene. And so Jesus is making this claim, and again, the Jews know what he's doing, and this is, I believe, this is why they respond in this way, that they took up stones to throw at him. He's making a claim to be God. He's making a claim to be equal with God. This, I mean, we can't have this, and so Jesus is trying to point them to the fact, looking at what he's doing, looking at what he's saying, that he is of God, he is of the truth. And he finally makes his claim here at the end of the chapter of making it clear of what he's claiming to be. There's no ifs, ands, or buts here about what he's claiming to be. And they try to kill him here. They took up stones to throw at him. But we see where Jesus hides and is able to get away from them. And so as we've been going through this chapter, we see these several claims that he's making, pointing out the hypocrisy of the Jews. They're claiming to be followers of God, but they're not listening to him, meaning they're not actual followers of God. And we see, Jesus becoming more vocal and clear about who he is. And this is continuing to stir up the Jews. And so that's the end of the chapter. Hope that it's been useful. Again, if you got any questions or comments, feel free to leave that. We'll also be putting this video and as before, I'm putting up the previous videos on YouTube. Again, our YouTube channel is North Columbus Church of Christ. You will find us there. And so we'll keep on working through the book of John every week. We'll start John chapter 9 at our next show. And until then, I hope that you all have a good day and a good rest of the week. Thanks.